Hi everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to my Tea Time and a Card. I'm just going to hold off just for a few seconds for everyone to find me on Facebook. Let me see if I can see some comments yet. Okay, I see a couple of people hopping on. Good evening everyone. So this is the first week of us changing our clocks. It's so dark here already. I hate it. It gets dark in Maine around 4 p.m. So what a long day that is. So I hope everyone's well. For those of you guys in Florida, I'm praying for you tonight. I know there's a big storm coming again. Okay, I can see everybody hopping on. So I don't have any announcements today. I didn't really get anything ready, so I'm just going to jump right into my two projects. You can see the two cards that I have here. This was from last month. Stampin' Up! Actually hosted once a week. It was on Wednesdays. Once a week we had techniques that we did. And all 4 weeks we used the Splendid Thought stamp set with the coordinated Splendid Stems dies. And I had shown you guys these cards and you all wanted to know how to do these two out of the 4. So that's what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to start out with this one. Now this is just a 1-layer card. It's one piece of cardstock. It's amazing what you could do with one piece of cardstock. So I'm using the thick basic white 11 by 4 1/4 scored at 5 1/2. I'm going to go ahead and fold that on the score line. And then what I am using, now the only thing that I would do differently on this one, I feel that the ink is getting lost in the shading here. So I'm going to be using different colors today just to show you a difference. But I think next time on this card, I'm going to use black for the images because I think the black would have popped off a lot better on top of the shading. So we're going to see. This is just an experiment. So I'm going to do stays on. And then I'm going to do greens instead of purples. So I'm going to do soft seafoam, pear pizzazz, and garden green. So look how pretty. I've got the 3 blending brushes for each color. And then for the jewels, I'm going to be using the iridescent rhinestone basic jewels. Now, you do need, when you're doing this shading that I'm going to show you, you do need something to make your straight lines. We had used masking paper, and you can use Post-its, but tonight I have this Post-it. It's 1 inch wide. It's just like a Scotch tape. This is what I'm going to use. It's so easy. I can't even remember where I bought that. I bought it quite some time ago. Now, in order to make my line straight, because I want to sponge, I'm going to cut this a little bit longer than the card. I'm going to position that right here on my grid paper so you can see I'm lining up the dark line. I'm going to go about halfway right there. So there's my first mark. Now I'm going to cut a second piece. And I'm going to go down 4 squares for 1 inch. And I'm going to section that off. Now I'm trying to think if that's too high or too low. I think it's too low. I'm going to move it. I'm going to go 1 square higher. Okay, there's my first one. But it makes it so easy to line up by using the grid lines. Okay, so there's my first one. Now you can see there's 3 purples on this one. We have a light shade, a medium shade, and a dark shade. I'm going to start out with the lightest. So that's my soft seafoam. Now let me move this so I don't make a mess. I'm going to dip into the ink, and I'm going to turn this sideways so I can see what I'm doing. Now, whenever I blend with my blending brush, I start off to the side first to get some of the excess off. And then I'm going to go about halfway. I'm going to do another coat until I feel it's dark enough. So 1 more. Okay, so there's my first one. Now I'm going to move over to the Pear Pizzazz. I just want to make sure. Okay, I can see you guys. Pear Pizzazz is a little bit darker. Okay, now I'm going to turn this way so you guys can see. Again, I'm going to start off to the side. I'm going to work my way in, and you can see this is a little darker. And when you get to the middle, you want to try to blend the two colors together. Okay, there's the first step. Now I need to peel these off. It's going to show up even more once I peel these off. Look how pretty that edging is. Whoops, hold on. Okay, now I'm going to actually cover this up. I just noticed I just peeled a little bit of that off. Now when I cover this, I'm going to leave a little bit peeking. Okay, this is not sitting. I'm going to have to use a fresh piece. I peeled my cardstock. I think the ink will cover that. Now the only boo-boo that I made, I didn't watch what I was doing right here, and I got some over the edge. But that's where your stamping comes in. Okay, I'm going to put this down. I'm going to bring it up to show you that you can see a little bit of the color peeking out, because you don't want to end up with a white line in between both colors. Okay, I need to straighten this out on my grid paper. Now I'm going to line this one up, and I'm hoping some of the blending will cover this ink that I got on there in error, but then I'll put an image also. Okay, so now what we did here, we had light and light. So we're going to go diagonally across because we had the light right here. So I'm going to go back to the soft seafoam and turn this. And again, I'm going to try not to go over that line. I went a little too rough. Okay, I'm going to peel this off and see if I can get some color on there. Okay, there's my light. And like I said, I'll make sure that I stamp on that little piece that I ripped. And my third color is going to be the garden green. I haven't used this one yet for blending. So again, I'm going to turn this. Start out over here, and this one's going to be a lot darker. This is a fresh brush, so I need to get more ink on it. It's going to take a little bit longer to get the ink on there. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to bring back in the soft seafoam, and I'm going to blend where those two meet. Okay, let me move these aside. Now we can see the magic. See what that looks like? Isn't that awesome? I love the way the green looks. So you can do this with any color family. Just pick 3 colors of the same color family. Okay, now I'm going to use the Stays On. Let me bring the card back in so you can see it. Now because I have just a tiny bit of ink right here, I'm going to stamp the flowers on this side, or the branches. And I'm anxious to see, I think the black is going to look so much more vibrant. Okay, now I want to cover this little rip right here, so I'm going to make sure. Oh yeah, look at the black on there. That looks so much better. We're going to do one more above that. And the reason I'm kind of doing it at an angle, I want to take that stem out of there so it doesn't look wonky. Okay, we're going to go right here on this one. Oh, look how pretty. I love it. Now I'll make a little confession to you. When I was doing this with the class, I got a little bit of tiny ink right there. So that's why I added this in the corner, but I kind of like the way that looks. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I was just trying to cover a boo-boo with that. Because remember, there's always a way to fix a boo-boo. So I'm going to go ahead and put one right in the corner. Now we're going to do the sentiment. And I think instead of putting my sentiment on the bottom part this time, I'll put it on, let me take that scrap out of there. I'm going to put it on the top section this time. And then we have our cute little bumblebee. So I'm going to put one down here. Oh, let's see. I think I'll put one flying towards the sentiment. And then one more up here. So look, you guys, we started with just a piece of white and look what we did to it. Okay, now let me bring the bling in here and I'm gonna add a few in the background. Let's do this one and we got some little ones up here. And I'm gonna do another big one right here. So look how quick and easy. So do you guys agree the black really stands out? I think the black would have looked great on the purple as well. It's just so crisp and vibrant. So there's the technique for this. It's just a gradient blending of 3 ink colors. Okay, let me get ready for card number 2. Move these aside. Card number 2 is the one that I'm going to show you how to do with the soft pastels. You can see the nice colors that these come in. And I went ahead and cut the same die cuts. So we got 3 branches. We got the little sentiment. And let me get you measurements on this. So the card base is the same, 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. And I'll give you the measurements on the other 2 layers in case you want to replicate this. So I have basic black, 3 3/4 by 2 3/4, and basic white, 3 1/2 by 2 1/2. Now let me grab my pad again. And I got my tweezers. We're going to have a little bit of heat embossing. That's what I did on the sentiment. That's white embossing. I'm using Versamark ink. We need a sponge dauber. And this time I'm using the little dotted image and sending hugs. Also going to need white embossing powder. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. And the matte black dots. Now the little circle that I cut with basic black is from the Stylish Shapes dies, and it's the second one from the end, the second smallest one. And I wanted to show you, I did another card because I'm going to try to use different colors just so you can see which one you prefer. I made another one today. So this one was with the Night of Navy, the Poppy Parade, and I can't remember what color that other one is. Coastal Cabana. And I made this one today using the, let's see, Granny Apple Green. What color is this one? Gorgeous Grape. And let's see, Daffodil Delight. I only see one yellow on here. So one of these must be Mango Melody. I'm not sure. I use the lighter of the yellows anyway. So tonight I'm going to pick this one. And let's see, what other color could I match up with that? I'm going to do, I haven't used this dark green yet. And then we'll add, do I want to do navy? Let's do these 3. Okay. So this is an old technique. For some of you guys that are new at stamping, you might not have heard of this. I mean, I did this way back 13 years ago when I joined Stampin' Up. This is called actually popping pastels. So I'm going to stamp with Versamark ink. You're not going to see this because it's clear ink. So I'm just filling up the background as much as I can. I'm going to see if you guys can see on the camera. Can you see the shine there? So you can see that I'm stamping that. So I'm going to fill this whole background. Let me turn this one. Okay. I'm going to put this away. Oh, actually, why don't I do my sentiment while I have my ink out? So sending hugs. I'm going to go right on the circle. Let me put some white embossing powder on that. So I will have to use my heat tool. Hold on, I gotta get my little paintbrush. I got a couple little specks there. Sometimes I like the look of the specks. Okay. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna heat this up first before I continue, just so I can get this part done. So let me turn this on. It'll just be for a few seconds. So all I'm going to do is melt the white powder. And the way you can tell, the white turns really, really bright. Look how bright that is. So I know that it's done. And I usually hold it up to the light to make sure it's super shiny. Okay, so that's all set. Now to the technique. Now because I haven't used these two, I'm going to actually color with the edge. I want to smooth this down because if I don't, it's going to make lines through my coloring. So all I'm going to do is scrub like this. And you can see that now it's dull. I'm just going to take that and color across over the Versamark. So there's the first color. And let's see, I'm going to go to this one, which I have used, but I'll make sure it's nice and flat. You can see the dots are appearing through the coloring. Here's my third one. No, not quite smooth enough. This one even had an angle to it. Okay, here we go. I can see some lines through there. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to set these aside. This is where my sponge dauber comes in. I'm actually going to rub that across, and look how smooth that comes out. But because we're using Versamark ink, it grabs onto the pastels. And it just makes them pop, so that's why it's called popping pastels. Okay, I'm going down to my second color. And I'm really going to rub where these two colors meet, just so I can meld them together. And then our third color, which is the, I think that's Mossy Meadow, I'm not sure. And I am rubbing really hard, you guys, and the Versamark ink does not rub off. Okay, now I'm going to join these two where they meet. And that's it. Look how quick that was, and look how beautiful that is. So you can see I have 3 different color combinations going on here. I'm going to go ahead and glue this to my black layer. You know what? I'm going to stop just for a second because I'm working with white paper. I just want to wipe that chalk off my fingers because you know what's going to happen to this. Okay, we're going to glue this down. And then I'm going to glue it to the card front with dimensionals. So because the first card was a single layer card, I didn't get to use dimensionals. That's 2 weeks in a row, you guys, I've done a card without dimensionals. I did that last week as well. So which color combination do you guys like the most? Okay, so this one I did on the left. I glued this one on the right. So this time I'm going to go right in the center. Make sure I get it right side up. We're going to glue our little branches. put that right in the middle since we got this card centered. Here's branch number 2, and I like to make it go off the edge of the black. And then here's the third branch. And now we've got the sentiment, so more dimensionals for the sentiment. Yeah, so which color do you guys like best? I like them all. And we're going to put this right there, right in the middle this time. And my last step, I'm just going to move some stuff here. Whoops. We're going to add some of these. Let's see, I'm going to go right here. I'm trying to get rid of the big ones that are on this one. And let's see, I'm going to do another one up here. Oh, let's go crazy. We'll just keep adding. And I'll add another black one right here. So there's my 2 techniques for tonight. Oh wow, I did that in like 23 minutes, you guys. So this was card number 2, Popping Pastels with the soft pastels assortment. And let me bring the other 2 cards back in. And for those of you on Facebook that commented, I will pick a name tomorrow morning and send you one of each card. I hope you enjoyed my technique. And just to let you know, next week I have a 3D Christmas project for you. So I look forward to showing you that. And I hope you enjoyed the 2 techniques. I hope you give it a try. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.